हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज हम लोग पढ़ने वाले हैं उसी सीरीज़ का उसी चैप्टर का नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स्ड बॉन्ड्स। उससे पहले हम लोग ने पढ़े कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड्स, तो आज हम लोग पढ़ेंगे इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स्ड बॉन्ड्स। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। टू प्रोटेक्ट द रिटर्न्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स के रिटर्न्स को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए फ्रॉम द बैगरीज ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन, द रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया प्लान्स टू इंट्रोड्यूस इन्फ्लेशन इंडेक्स्ड बॉन्ड्स. It was proposed in the Union Budget 2013-14. The government hopes this will help increase financial savings instead of buying gold. In the recent years, the rate of return on the debt investment has often been below inflation, which effectively means that inflation was eroding savings. Inflation indexed bonds provides returns that are always in excess of inflation, ensuring that price rise does not erode the value of savings. Erode in the sense to mitigate the value, to mitigate the savings, or to delete or to less or to down the value of savings. In 2013-14, the RBI launched two such bonds. The first one in June 2013 linked with the wholesale price index, which had a very weak retail response, and second one in December 2013 linked with customer price index or consumer price index, wholesale price index and consumer price index. Or the later one is called a inflation indexed national savings security cumulative with a 10-year tenure. These are internationally known as inflation linked securities or simply linkers. Interest rate on these securities would be linked to final combined consumer price index, WACE 2010 to 100. Interest rate would comprise two parts: fixed rate 1.5% and inflation rate based on 3-month lag to CPI. Thus, if a bond is being valued in December, the reference rate will be the CPI of September. The new offering should attract higher attention from the savers, especially due to its link to CPI instead of wholesale price index, which is a less accurate gauge of inflation. The CPI is considered a more accurate gauge of impact of inflation on consumers because it takes into account increase in the cost of education, food, transportation, housing and medical care. In the wholesale price index, the emphasis is on measuring the price of traded goods and services. It was in 1997 that the IIBs were issued for the first time in India, named as capital indexed bonds. But there remains a difference between these two bonds. While the CIBs provided inflation protection only to principals, that the new IIBs provide inflation protection to both the components, principal and interest payments. To know more about the gold exchange traded fund, what is gold exchange traded funds? Gold exchange traded funds are open-ended mutual funds schemes that closely track the price of physical golds. Each unit represents 1 gram of gold having 0.995 purity, and the ETF is listed on stock exchanges. Exchange traded fund. The net asset value of each unit is calculated based on the prices of physical gold prevailing on that day and is designed to provide return that would closely track the return from physical gold. E-gold is another purchase options involving investment in units traded on the National Spot Exchange Limited. Here the investor is required to have a demat account with an affiliate of NSEL. E-gold's brokerage and transaction charges are lower than gold ETFs as there are no fund management charges. One can take delivery of gold or sell it in the exchange, but there is also a negative point here from the tax angles. Under e-gold, one has to hold the yellow metal for 36 months to enjoy long-term capital gain benefit, and this is taxed at 20%. For ETFs and gold funds, the holding period to be classified as long term is only 1 year. After a year, ETF and gold funds will suffer 10% tax without indexation and 20% after indexation for a small investor gold. ETF would appear to be the best option as it meets his needs without difficulties in terms of creating a separate demat account, tax implications, and wealth tax. Let's talk about the CPSE ETF, the Central Public Sector Enterprises Exchange Traded Fund, comprising the shares of 10 blue chips. PSUs was listed on the BSE and NSE platform in April 2014. The government of India expected to raise a corpus of 3,000 crore through the fund, while it got oversubscribed to the tune of 4,300 crores. This scheme is conceived by the government of India as a means to disinvest a part of its holding in public sector units. And we will come to the point again, principal interest payment. Let's talk about the pension sector. Pension has been an integral part of the government jobs in India. Pension serves in two important socio-economic objectives. First, it facilitates the flow of long-term savings for development, that is nation buildings, and also help establishment a credible and sustainable social security system in country. The new pension scheme, now renamed as a National Pension System, was introduced by the government on December 22, 2003, and it was made mandatory for central government employees except the armed forces who joined service with effect from January 1st, 2004. The scheme was extended to the government, and as of now 28 state governments have notified the national pension scheme for their employees. The scheme was extended to all citizens of the country on voluntary basis from May 2009. Although the NPS is perhaps one of the cheapest financial product available in the country, in order to make it affordable for the economically disadvantaged, the government in September 2010 introduced a lower cost version known as Swavalamban scheme, which enables groups of people to join the NPS at a substantial reduced cost. As per the existing scheme under the NPS, Swavalamban could be availed either in unorganized sector or in NPS Lite. NPS Lite is a model specifically designed to bring the NPS within easy reach of the economically disadvantaged sections of the society. It is extremely affordable and viable due to its optimized functionalities available at reduced charges. Under the Swavalamban scheme, the government provides subsidy to each NPS account holder, and the scheme was extended until 2016 to 17. Cus- Customized version of the core NPS model, known as the NPS corporate sector model, was introduced from December 2011 to enable organized sectors. And I have been studies earlier videos what is the organized sector of the economy. Okay, entities to move their existing and prospective employees to NPS under its corporate model. All public sector banks have been asked to provide a link on their website to enable individual subscriber to open online NPS account. As per few previous volumes of the economic survey, the pension reforms in India have been generated widespread interest internationally, but before universal inclusion of the poorer sections of the Indian society into the pension network is a reality. The economically need to solve the following major challenges: lower level of the financial literacy, particularly among workers in the or unorganized sector, non-availability of the even moderate surplus, lukewarm response so far from most of the state or UT governments to contributory Swavalamban scheme, lack of awareness on the supply side about the NPS of access point of people to open their account individually have been major inhibiting factor. During 2015-16, the government launched a new pension scheme, ABPA, Atal Pension Yojana. The scheme provides a defined pension depending on the contribution and its period. The subscriber to it will be receive a minimum pension of 1 to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 per month from the age of 60 years, depending on their contribution, which are themselves based on the age of joining scheme. The scheme is open to all bank account holders. The central bank co-contribute 50% of the total contribution subject to maximum 1,000 per annum to each eligible subscriber account for a period of 5 years from 2015-16 and 19 to 20, who joined the APY Atal Pension Yojana between 1st June to 2015, 31st March 2016, who is not a member of any statutory social security scheme and is not an income tax payer, subscriber, and AUM as the latest government data. December 2022, there were over 20.9 lakh central government NPS subscribers, while more than 50.11 lakh state government employees have subscribed to NPS. The total AUM, asset under management under NPS, for the central government was over 2.03 lakhs crores, while for the state it was over 3.65 lakh crores. And this is done for the today. We will study from here tomorrow, and this is enough for the today. Thank you so much. Keep watching my videos.